Class 11th, subject physics, 12th chapter magnetism. From the chapter, let us see the comparison between Gauss law in electrostatics and Gauss law in magnetism. Let us see first Gauss law in electrostatics. Gauss law in electrostatics. So in case of electrostatics, Gauss law states that the net electric flux through a closed Gaussian surface is directly proportional to the electric charge enclosed by that surface. The net electric flux through a closed Gaussian surface is directly proportional to the electric charge enclosed by that surface if phi E represents the net electric flux passing through the Gaussian surface and Q represents the electric charge, then according to Gauss law in electrostatics, the net electric flux phi E will be proportional to electric charge. Therefore, this phi E can be written as phi E equal to integration E ds, which is nothing but equal to Q upon epsilon 0. So according to Gauss law in electrostatics, the net electric flux phi E equal to Q upon epsilon 0. On the other hand, in case of magnetism, the Gauss law in magnetism that we will have to study, that is Gauss law in magnetism. So, in case of magnetism, Gauss law is stated as the net magnetic flux through a closed Gaussian surface is 0. The net magnetic flux through a closed Gaussian surface is 0. That is, phi B will represent the net magnetic flux that will be equal to integration B ds, and that is equal to 0. The magnetic lines of force, if you consider, then these magnetic lines of forces will be shown for different bodies. So let us see the magnetic lines of forces for a bar magnet, current carrying solenoid, and the electric dipole. So the magnetic lines of forces for a bar magnet, current carrying solenoid, and an electric dipole are as shown below. So let us see one by one. First of all, we will consider the magnetic lines of forces in case of a bar magnet. So this is the bar magnet consisting of two poles N and S. Then these loops will represent the magnetic lines of forces originated from North Pole and ending on South Pole. So this will be in case of a bar magnet. So in case of a bar magnet, the number of lines of force entering in and leaving out the given surface are equal. So if you consider any surface here, then for that given surface, the number of magnetic lines of forces entering the surface will be equal to the number of magnetic lines of forces leaving that surface. And therefore, the Gaussian surface does not include the poles. Gaussian surface does not include the poles of the magnet, that is, the total magnetic flux associated with any closed surface will be equal to 0. The total magnetic flux associated with any closed surface is equal to 0 because the magnetic lines of forces entering in and leaving out that surface are equal, and hence the net or total magnetic flux associated with any closed surface will be equal to 0. Now let us consider the second case, that is in case of a current carrying solenoid. So this will be the solenoid. When current is flowing through this spiral, that is solenoid, at that time we will get again N and S poles produced there. Again magnetic lines of forces will originate from N pole and will end on the S pole. And therefore if you consider like this any current carrying solenoid, then in case of solenoid the north and south poles are included in the Gaussian surface. So opposite to that of a bar magnet, because in case of bar magnet the poles are not included in the Gaussian surface, but in case of solenoid the north and south poles are included in the Gaussian surface, and the total flux associated with the Gaussian surface will be 0. The total magnetic flux associated with the Gaussian surface will be equal to 0, since very small slice of the bar magnet will include a north and south pole. A very small slice of bar magnet will now include a north and south pole. But in case of a current carrying solenoid, there is some electric flux phi E. So in case of solenoid also, the net magnetic flux associated with that Gaussian surface will be 0, but the electric flux will be having some finite value phi E. Now let us consider the third case, that of electric dipole. If you consider electric dipole, that is pair of positive and negative charge separated by some finite distance, then again in this case the magnetic lines of forces are originated from this positive charge and will end on this negative charge, and therefore in case of electric dipole the electric field lines or the magnetic lines of forces will start from positive charge and end on the negative charge. Again the net flux, the net magnetic flux associated or enclosed by the Gaussian surface will be 0. So in case of electric dipole also, the net magnetic flux enclosed by the Gaussian surface will be equal to 0. So this will be regarding the magnetic lines of forces related with a bar magnet, a current carrying solenoid, and the electric dipole. From this we can conclude that from all the three diagrams we can conclude that for the electrostatics the isolated electric charge exists. So in case of electrostatics the isolated, that is single electric charge will exist, but in case of magnetism an isolated magnetic pole does not exist. So in case of electrostatics isolated electric charge may exist, but in case of magnetism the magnetic pole, that is isolated magnetic pole, does not exist, and thus only dipoles exist in case of magnetism. The dipoles will exist in case of magnetism and not in case of electrostatics or in case of electric field.